Hey everyone, I'm Ryan. Today we are going over how you get your very first IT job. You might be wondering who this guy is trying to give you advice. So let me just give you a quick background. I began my IT journey pretty much at the bottom of the barrel. I was picking up phones and answering tickets at help desk for a managed service provider. It was day in, day out, just the grunt work. It's stuff you can get honestly right out of high school. You don't need any college. You're getting paid a little over minimum wage. It's not too much, but that was the very beginning of my IT journey. Then about 3 years into my career, I ended up getting a system administrator role. This was my full intention from the very beginning. I knew what my goal was. I sought for it, I fought for it, and eventually did secure it. And I'm really here to tell you guys how to do something very similar. With all the experience that I've learned, I've sat on hundreds of interviews at this point, interviewing everyone from security to networking to other system administrators and an enormous amount of help desk employees. I realized it would be very useful to the community if I told you my experience with sitting in on interviews and listening to my superiors go over why they don't want somebody. Now, the IT market is definitely saturated. There's tons of people applying to tons of different positions. So what we really want to do is make sure you get distinguished from the rest of the fleet. You know, all the sheep that are applying with these half-assed resumes coming out of school trying to get the job that you really want. Let's make sure you get it and not them. So to get started, the very first thing that we are going to talk about is your resume. Now, I'm not a resume expert. I have reviewed, of course, tons of them because of the job applications that come into my IT team at different positions. Honestly, from my experience, after it gets filtered through HR, we pull in pretty much anyone that has a pretty close or decent skill set, someone that's even interested in IT. It depends on the position. If you're doing just help desk, we just want to see an interest in help desks, an interest in IT, maybe something like a hobby, because let's be honest, most people might list, hey, you need 3 years of experience or 5 years of experience to go get a help desk position. But in reality, those are, false expectations. We're just trying to pull in the best resumes in the area. The first thing you should do with your resume is go to someone that knows more than you do. And what I mean by that is like a IT recruiter or some type of recruiter, just to review your resume. Maybe your school might have it. I know a lot of colleges will offer some type of service for reviewing your resume for free. Nothing too costly. But again, just get people to review your resume. Maybe people that have already landed jobs. I can't exactly do that for you guys as much as I wish I could. But please get your resume reviewed. It will do you a ton of good just to get it reviewed. After you add in your education, skills, all the sections of a resume, it's pretty standard stuff. Just make sure it's catered to the job that you're applying to or the title that you're really going for. If you're going for security, try to add as much stuff about security into your skill sets. If you're going for help desk, if you're going into help desk, communication skills, documentation, things like that. These soft skills are really what people aim for. So just jot down as much stuff as you can in relation to the role that you're applying for. One of the biggest things that has helped me land job interviews and offers is actually my HomeLabbing section on my resume. It creates a great conversational piece. It shows that you have a huge interest in IT, not just as a career or a paycheck. Definitely invaluable to a resume, especially when you're starting out. As you grow in your career and get more and more experience, of course, you can kind of phase out this HomeLabbing section in your resume. But when you're coming out of high school, coming out of college, you're not going to have a lot of work experience. You're just going to be jotting down either an internship or just skills in general. If you have this HomeLabs section, it's really just going to shine and show all the experience that you might have, even though you're lacking an actual job experience. You're doing stuff at home trying to figure all this out. So please do your best to add something like that. Now, after you get through this whole submit your resume thing to 100 different companies, wait to hear something back and try to land your interviews, you're probably going to have some phone calls here and there. Now comes the fun part, which is actually showing up in person or a remote job, whatever you're doing, and trying to kill it at the interview. Now, let me tell you how important it is that your personality fit for what you're applying to is probably going to be the most important part of your interview process. Because really, the team that you're interviewing for is going to look at two things. One is you're going to, of course, be your technical skills. How good are you at what you're doing? That would probably include your soft skills like communication, documentation. Those two things are absolutely mandatory for a position starting out in IT. But your technical skills, by the time you get your interview, you're not going to be able to get more technical skills. You're going to have a week to maybe review a couple of things, but you should just know what you know. Okay. The biggest thing is work on your personality. I know it sounds a little silly. In reality, when somebody walks into an interview and they fit us like a glove, our personality of the team, maybe crack some jokes and just get along very naturally, that is our first indicator of, okay, this guy's definitely going to be a candidate for this position. And this is before we even talk technical terms, right? Because technical stuff can be taught, can be learned. A lot of teams will be more than happy to teach you all the technical things starting out at a help desk position. But what you really can't teach, of course, is personality. What you're really doing when you walk into an interview is try to match the energy of the room. If they're silly, you be silly. If they're cracking jokes, try to crack jokes as well, but stay genuine. You don't want to feel fake or seem fake, because in an interview, I'm telling you, they're going to be able to sniff out your bullshit from far away. So stay genuine during the interview process, and just remember that personality fit is going to be the most important factor trying to land these interviews and get a job offer. Now, talking about the technical part of the interview, some companies do a lot more technical questions than others. I've been a part of a bunch. Some have very little to nothing, and others will just have a ton, like a list of technical questions for the fire at you. The people that have these list of technical questions and the people that don't still are kind of after the same thing. What they're after is not that you know the exact answer to these questions, but they want to see how you think. When I say see how you think, they really just want to see how you troubleshoot through processes. You hear people start troubleshooting out loud, the team that's interviewing you is going to be able to tell whether you're just fit for the role or you're not. Now, the thing is, they're not looking for these small little details and the exact answers. They're just looking to see how you actually think through a problem and the steps that you might take. If the extent of your answer is turn it off and turn it back on, they're not going to be very happy. It doesn't mean that you flunked the interview, but you do want to just try to keep troubleshooting, keep talking through the problem, and ask questions while you're talking. Maybe you can get some more details out of the team. Maybe you can let them lead the way a little bit, but just keep talking through how you're troubleshooting in your mind and talk to them through how your thought process is going. I've seen people that have totally messed up an entire interview question going the complete wrong direction, but they did such a good job with explaining their processes and what they would actually look at, that our team ended up loving the answer because it showed how they can make complicated terms into layman terms. And what do you think you're going to be doing when you're helping other people with their IT issues? You're going to be trying to break down these complicated IT problems into ways that other people can understand you. With that being said, if they're giving you these complicated technical questions, just keep going with it, even though you might not actually know the answer. Just keep troubleshooting out loud. Say everything that you're thinking and see where it goes from there, because I'm telling you, they don't care if you get the exact right answer. They just care how you're thinking. Now, after you smash this interview with, taking all this advice, we are going to talk about your personal skill set, because this will be directly and related to how you actually perform in the position or maybe answer these technical questions. Like I mentioned previously, HomeLabbing is going to help build your skills, and it's also going to make your resume look absolutely beautiful compared to the people that don't have such things on their resume. If you turn IT into a hobby and you HomeLab and you talk about this to all the people that are interviewing you, they're gonna absolutely love you, because they're just looking for someone passionate. They're looking for the personality fit and a little bit of technical experience. But again, technical experience can be taught. Speaking of that, we also have certificates. If you're right out of high school, one of the best things you could probably do for yourself is get some CompTIA certificates. Now, the biggest thing with this is probably just HR filtering. HR filtering would really mean, hey, if you don't have this, we're not even gonna look at your resume. and that does apply to some positions. So what you want to do is look at some general IT certificates. My most recommended coming out of high school or coming out of college is to just make sure you have something like your A+ or your Net+ CompTIA certificate. It's not like these things are mandatory. It'll just give you that little one up on somebody else. It shows to your employer that you're willing to learn on your own. Now, after you have 1 or 2 certificates from CompTIA, they might take like a month to 3 months to study for, and then you have your home lab on your resume. Then the very last thing is just your education. What kind of education level do you have? But after really talking about your personal skill set, which is your certificates, home lab coming out of high school or college, you're of course going to list anything that you've learned in school. Let's go over the few things that we talked about. First up, we got your resume. Get your resume reviewed by your peers, the school that you might be attending, or an actual professional. Then we talked about the interview process. Again, technical skills can be taught, personality cannot be taught. So do your best to try to fit in with the energy of the team. And of course, just try to increase your personal skill set. Best way by doing so is getting some certificates under your name and also doing your home labbing. After that, it's all you guys. And that's really it for the video, guys. I really appreciate you watching, and I wish you very much luck to your first IT position. Thanks again. Please like and subscribe if this may have helped you. And if you want to see any videos in the near future, I plan on doing home labbing. I plan on doing some how-tos, learn-tos, things like that, maybe a day in the life of my position, so on and so forth. Thanks again. I'm out.